tiene loco en la cabeza cuando me tocas. Siento que todo está bien, pero en verdad yo no sé si tú lo sientes también. Entonces quiero saber por qué desde que te vi yo vivo diferente. No me importa a mí lo que dice la gente, porque tú siempre la prendes candela. Te quiero a mi lado toda la vida, mi nena. La mano pegada y los pies en la arena. Pase lo que pase, baby, vale la pena. Ay, baby, yo te quiero. Es mentira todo lo que te dijeron. Sabes que mi amor por ti es verdadero. Yo te soy fiel, nena, yo te soy sincero. Juro que yo hago de todo por ti.
Hello guys, I'm here to give you an update on the Freightliner Century. It just came back from a 700-mile round trip with the Amazon relay contract. First day out, did find no issues, small issues, right? We have a clearance light that's out. When he hooked up to a trailer, the airlines were backwards here. So when he kept putting his trailer lines on, they weren't releasing the trailer brakes, and we had to switch these around. And it ended up being the lines were put on backwards. I put on these lines red with red, blue with blue, but it seems like the last owner made us switch the lines around to maybe prevent people from stealing equipment, because it was a Carnival family who had this truck last. And then just now my driver came back, the truck died right at the gate and didn't want to turn back on. I thought it was a neutral safety switch because this was an automatic transmission, so I redid some wiring here. And the truck is just not staying on. But then when I spray it with starting fluid, it stays on, and I found two issues. The water separator housing is not holding fuel, or this is the fuel filter, and it's not holding fuel, and it's just sucking everything down. So I ended up changing this out, and Freightliner actually gave me a bigger filter. Like, it doesn't even sit properly. I got a filter that sits properly. And then I just took off the check valve, and this is what we're dealing with. So I gotta go change out this check valve because that's not gonna work. All right guys, so I finished doing what I was doing. I'm gonna show you guys again. This is the check valve from the Freightliner. This is what it looks like, all clogged up. The driver hit a bump right at the entrance of the parking. Truck shut off, didn't want to turn back on. Ended up being check valve, and I changed out the filter. Truck starts and idles fine now. Also found a leaking radiator right here on the corner. I'm gonna hit it up with some epoxy tomorrow, see if I can get 2 more weeks out of this radiator, and I plan to get a new radiator. But I'm gonna go ahead and throw this out. We're gonna get inside the truck and we're gonna go over the numbers here. Alright guys, I'm Manny. Welcome back to the channel. So all behold, here we got the 2000 Freightliner Century. I'm gonna go over the numbers on how much I actually put into this truck before I actually put it on the road for the first time. So yesterday it did go out, and it came back early this morning, 700 miles, about 13 dropping hooks. Went all the way to Houston and back pretty much, and did all the stops in the Houston area. So let's start it. So got this truck all the way in McAllen. I was around December 28th, 2024. I negotiated for this truck for $7,500. Now this truck was an automatic. It came from a family of a Carnival background, so that's what this truck was mainly doing. The last decade was just all Carnival equipment. Interior wasn't the best shape at all. Interior actually needed a lot of work. The doors didn't want to work. The windows didn't want to work. They didn't want to open and close properly. I ended up throwing away all the cabinets inside the truck because they were just all moldy and just too much to try to clean, and they were all broken because this is the year 2000. And I replaced everything pretty much with some Ryobi crates and some wall hangers, and I put some Milwaukee storage box up there for storage. So picked it up for $7,500, drove it the 4.5 hours straight to San Antonio. That first day I spent about $526 in fuel just filling up on the mud flap, and these are 150 gallon tanks on both sides. From there, I started having issues with the automatic transmission while it was sitting at the garage. It just didn't want to start or stay running. Ended up being computer wiring issues. The computer was on the floor when I picked it up. It was a shifter tower, old school shifter tower. They don't even make that style of transmission anymore. So it was an old school shifter setup. I tried replacing the computer with a new one, and the computer didn't even want to read. So I ended up getting my money back on that, and I came to the conclusion that I wanted to do an auto to manual conversion. So before I did the auto manual conversion, we did all brakes, brake chambers, slack adjusters, wheel seals, shocks, kingpins, all the way around. So let's see here, brakes. Let's start. Yeah, so for labor for the brakes and all that stuff was $2,400. I spent $898 in parts, another $590, and another $166. That was to cover all brakes, brake chambers, slack adjusters, wheel seals, and kingpins. Now the shocks, I did all the shocks myself. The front shocks I did myself. The torque rods I did myself. The cab shocks and the cab airbags I did myself. All 4 airbags I did myself too, so I saved money on labor. Let me see. The torque rods, I spent $200 on the torque rods, and another $150 on window switches. So that I did it myself. After the labor and all that stuff for doing all the brakes, I let the truck sit for a couple weeks so I could figure out the whole automatic transmission situation. From there, I ended up doing the entire exhaust myself from front to back. Let's see. So for exhaust, I spent $187 in exhaust parts, and then $142 and another section of 10-foot exhaust, which I didn't even need. It's still sitting in the garage. But about $300, and I did the entire exhaust myself. The back portion of the exhaust is actually butt welded together. It looks like there's clamps, but they're butt welded together. The clamps are just for dress up. After that, I went ahead and dropped it off at the shop for the auto manual conversion. Now this was a 3-pedal automatic, so it was going to be a simple setup. So for labor, I lost money in labor for the auto to manual conversion, and here's why. I went with an 18-speed transmission. I spent $3,800. That 18-speed transmission was put in with a brand new clutch. It was a RTO 18-speed, and it was junk. It wasn't even going into gear, and they installed it with a new clutch. So the transmission was taken back out. I ended up getting my money back on the transmission, and I found a brand new RTLO 18-13 speed, brand new transmission, rebuilt, and that's what's in this truck right now, is a brand new transmission instead of a used 18 speed. So we have the high torque clutch on it, so the pedal is very, very hard on this truck, and it's a RTLO 18-13 speed, brand new. But then for labor, for labor it was already $2,000, and then I had to pay another $2,000 to take off the transmission and put in a whole new one. So that was $4,000 in labor. So I lost $2,000 automatic right there with the whole transmission being installed, and it ended up not working. And I spent $155 on the shaft clutch and $164 on a new isolator assembly for the shifter tower. I spent $125 on a sleeper window because the sleeper window was missing when I got the truck. I spent $80 on square tubing for the generator brackets that I built, and then I ended up renting a U-Haul to go get the metal because I didn't have a truck or anything long enough to get 10-foot square tubing. And then for the welding, for the exhaust and the generator bracket, I spent another $50 to refill my argon CO2 gas tank. So that whole generator bracket was built by me. I spent $150 on coolant, green coolant. The muffler bracket that holds the actual muffler, I spent $309 from Freightliner. You can get them online for $150, way cheaper, but it was going to be, I would have had to wait a week for that. Passenger windshield was replaced with moldings for $250. After I replaced this passenger window, all of a sudden the driver's side is cracked now, and it's like a foot long crack, but I'm just gonna seal it and we're gonna ride like that, because it's not easy to just be replacing windows. Let's see, brand new 8 drive tires, $2,280, and I still have good used Goodyear tires on the front, and these are not the low profiles. I think these are 1122Rs. The generator was $380. Power inverter, $169. Tire pressure sensors that I put on, $350. Right now we're all in at with the $7,500 purchase of the Freightliner Century, we're at about $25,445. Now that is estimate, because I'm missing parts in there, a lot of small parts, and then now we're adding a radiator in a couple weeks. Now this seat, I bought it as a set. I didn't even add it to the seat. I bought it as a set on Amazon, 2 of them for like $300 or $400, and I made it fit the original Freightliner Century bracket, and I welded it in place. There was just no seats that were really affordable for me, so these seats, I got 2 of them for $350 or $400 or something like that. The shifter tower here, the shifter, I didn't even add that to here. That was like another $20 on Amazon. And then what do we have here? Because this was automatic, so they had to do a cutout here on the floor, and then I had to find this piece on Amazon to cover this, and that was like another $50 that I didn't even add to that. Steering wheel I didn't add, and this was $120. These little knobs here. The cluster doesn't work now because I don't have the VSS connected, so we just got the GPS gauge. Radio doesn't work. AC now works. I just spent like $600 in labor that's not even on this receipt to fix the entire AC system. So as soon as you turn this on, you hit this little switch here, and that'll turn on the compressor, and then now you got ice cold AC in here. So there are some stuff that I did not add to that receipt. I think we're closer to maybe 29,000-30,000 before the truck even got on the road. Was it worth it? Some of it was, some of it wasn't. I'm gonna do a lot better next time when I'm trying to find a Freightliner Century or Columbia. There was just way too much small repair work. Again, I bought this truck for the automatic transmission, and it didn't work out, and we ended up putting a new 13-speed in, and that wasn't what I planned to do. I wanted to keep the automatic because it's easier to hire drivers who can drive automatic than manual. I don't even think did we add the fridge? I don't think we added the fridge on there, and like the AC unit. So there's a lot of small stuff that I didn't even get a chance to add on this whole setup here. But that's all I have for you guys. I haven't been driving in a little bit, but I'm constantly working every day. I think there are a lot of good trucks out there for that 15. The route that you take when it comes to these cast trucks, that's up to you. This is just a route that I took before I even put this truck on the road. A lot of new parts, a lot of labor, a lot of money saved because I did the labor myself. I mean, look, we got duct tape holding the dash. That's the type of truck we got going on right now. We got duct tape because there's just cracks everywhere. But the AC works, all the gauges work, all the windows work. But that's just what I got going on here. I highly recommend though, just taking the time to find the right truck with the right motor. Definitely be trying to look for a truck that the mechanics know how to repair. And just come to a point where I've seen that these mechanics, their go-to trucks are definitely the Columbias and Freightliner, and the Freightliner, Columbias, and Centuries, because the parts are interchangeable and they're easy to work on. And it's just something about that Detroit 60 motor that a lot of these mechanics know how to repair. Now you can see what just happened just now. I just got lucky with another breakdown. This actually hasn't been the first time the truck just broke down randomly. It ended up being the neutral safety switch the first time when I was driving it around the neighborhood. The ring terminal broke off, and my ingenuity and knowledge, I was able to fix that myself. And again, truck went out for 2 days. He hit a bump over here at the entrance, and the truck didn't want to turn on and stay on. Ended up dumping starting fluid just to get it back in the parking spot so I could figure out what's going on. It ended up being a clogged check valve. And I'm just blessed that it didn't happen when he was out there in Houston on over the weekend, because a lot of breakdowns actually happen for some reason to me over the weekend when no one's around in the middle of the night, and ends up leaving drivers out there, and tows are a little bit more expensive. But yeah, guys, this is what I got going on here for the new Freightliner Century. I actually have to get on top of the roof tomorrow to seal up the sleeper window up there, because it actually leaks when it rains. After I replaced the front windshield, it was leaking, and it was still leaking at some corners, so I finally redid that. Took the truck home and sprayed water across the front windshield, no leaks. But as soon as I sprayed it on that top sleeper window, it is dripping in the interior of the truck from that sleeper window. So I gotta hit it up with some caulking. And then now here we go with a leaking radiator that I am gonna have to take care of in a couple weeks. So I'm gonna try to prolong that radiator just a little bit longer while I figure out the whole radiator issue. And so I'm gonna let the truck make some money before I go and start spending some more money. So we're getting right there to the $30,000 mark on this truck. Is this truck worth $30,000? I don't think so. It's just a lot of new parts put in. It's worth whatever you make it worth, I guess. So just because I put X amount of money in it doesn't mean that it's worth that. That's just the amount of money I put in, and it's a lot of new stuff. So I'm glad that I rebuilt the entire exhaust. I'm gonna try to learn as much as I can about this Detroit 60 motor and see if I can do more stuff myself. We got more people here in this Riggy's parking. Again, if you're gonna be parking over here at Riggy's, you let them know that Manny sent you, so I can get a discount over here on my way. I have about 3 parking spots over here. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 trucks parked over here, and I have yeah, we got just 6 trucks parked over here right now. I plan on one of the Volvos. I'm actually going to be getting rid of them. I think the 2005 Volvo has some type of head issue, so it's parked over there in the corner right now. I actually got to move it to the parking storage sometime this week, so I can start taking stuff out and put it up for sale. So I didn't really gain any trucks. I'm kind of like this truck is replacing another truck, so I had this one in the works for a while because I knew I was going to be replacing a truck. Also, guys, if you are running the Amazon account, pay attention to the auctions tab. I did see yard hustling on there to put an auction that people were putting bids on. I think I saw one in New Jersey or something like that. So pay attention to that on the auctions tab, just for some extra resources. I'm gonna go ahead and get out here, get this posted for you guys as soon as possible. This is just an update on what I've been going through, trying to get this truck on board. This truck just came back and it already had issues. It had issues actually the first night, where the airlines were backwards, and I ended up meeting the driver out there to just swap out the airlines. He didn't have any issues with the truck until we got to the entrance gate, and it just didn't want to kick on. So still learning the truck, still going through small issues that I hope we can just get this resolved and make this a more reliable truck here. But hey, that's just the update for you guys. I'm still here. I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm trying to win. and I hope to see you guys at the top. Peace.
Nena loca, me tiene loco en la cabeza cuando me tocas. Siento que todo está bien, pero en verdad yo no sé si tú lo sientes.